Peter Facinelli here, welcoming you to the Toms of Maine Wicked Fresh chat series. I'm here today to talk to you live about my wickedly cool life. So let's get the questions started. Just type in any questions in the Facebook or Ustream chat boxes and we'll get started, okay? Sorry, that's my daughter's pig. It's okay, Mia. Okay, hold on one second. My daughter wants her pig. Can you come get your pig, babe? Can you put her away? There you go. Thank you. She's a little noisy. Okay, question number one. What was it like being at the Emmys on Sunday night? Any memories you can share? Well, if I'm going to tell the truth, being in the Emmys, being there live, it's kind of like a flight to Europe in coach with no snacks, because you're kind of stuck in your seat for 3 hours, and you get kind of hungry and thirsty. And but it was fun. I mean, I got to see lots of cool people, and but I kept taking trips to the bathrooms because I kept wanting to stretch my legs. So I went to the bathroom. And while I was in the bathroom, I heard that Edie Falco won for Best Actress. So I kind of missed it. But all in all, it was a good time. I thought Jimmy Fallon did a pretty cool job, and it was entertaining. Just, it's hard to sit there for 3 hours straight like that. Okay. What are some of your hobbies? Well, I used to have more hobbies when I was less busy. So, let's see, I used to play a lot of poker, and I have motorcycles. I have a Triumph motorcycle, a 2005, and I have a Harley that I like to drive. And I used to play racquetball before I got busy with films. Now I have no life at all. Yeah, what makes your life wickedly cool? Well, I don't know. What makes my life wickedly cool is that I have a really wickedly cool family. I have really wickedly cool friends, and I have really wickedly cool fans. So I'm surrounded by wickedly cool people, which I guess rubs off on me. What kind of roles do you like to sink your teeth into? Ha ha. I guess that's a vampire pun. Let's see. You know, I like doing all different kind of roles. So whenever my agents say, "What do you want to do next?" I always say, "Whatever I haven't done before." So when I look back on my career, I've done action, and I've done comedy, and I've done drama. So I'm excited to continue to push myself as an actor and continually do different things. I remember getting the call for Twilight. I hadn't read the books at the time when my agents called me, so they said they called me up and they said, "Hey, you want to do a vampire movie?" And I said no, because I was thinking like some kind of, I don't know, D horror film. With like bats in caves kind of thing, and I said, "No, it's based on this book. You should read it," and so I did, and I fell in love with it. So I went in and met Catherine Hardwicke, and the rest is history. What role would you say defined you as an actor? Ooh, I don't know. I've had, you know, whatever roles I've always done, I've been really passionate about. So whether or not they've been commercially successful or not has been beyond my control. But I can honestly say my litmus test for taking a job is, am I going to be passionate going to work in the mornings? And 99.9% of the things that I've done, I have been. So I mean, I've never looked at it like which one of these roles has kind of defined me, because I've done so many different types of roles. So hopefully people just like my work and will continue to tune in and let me surprise them. What is your dream role? That's a hard one, because again, there's so many different genres that I like. One time I did a role based on Eric Weinmayer, who is, it's a true story. He's the first and only blind man to ever climb Mount Everest and reach the top. And I got to play Eric Weinmayer. And so I'm playing a blind mountain climber that reaches the top of Mount Everest. And if I had to say, hey, you know, what's your dream role? I'd say a blind mountain climber, thinking that that's the most ridiculous thing. But it was a true story, and I was really honored to be able to play him and tell his story. And so I guess that the answer is I don't know what the dream role is. I just look for projects that I'm passionate about, and I make every one of those roles my dream role while I'm filming it. You seem to play a lot of medical professions a lot. Did you ever want to be a doctor? It's funny because I've only played 2 doctors. It just happens to be that I'm playing them at the same time, because before that I played a lot of cops and a lot of, you know, jerky characters or bad guys. And so did I ever want to be a doctor? Not really. I have to be honest, the whole medical profession kind of bored me before I actually started portraying those characters. I never saw an episode of ER. I never saw an episode of Grey's Anatomy. But with Nurse Jackie, I was really interested in the look of a hospital through the eyes of a nurse. I thought that was really interesting, and I thought my character was really quirky and fun, and so that kind of drew me to that project. And then, you know, the fact that Carlisle's a doctor is just happenstance. I mean, I think he's a humanitarian, and that's his way of giving back to humans, is to be able to try to save them and protect them, and so that's where that profession came from. Would you ever do a musical? You know, I never like to say never, but chances are rare, only because I can't sing or play an instrument. So, but maybe one day I'll have to learn for the project. All right, I'm going to be in High School Musical 4. The college years. No? Am I too old for the college years? The high school reunion, we'll call it. All right, do you get exhausted doing all the appearances that you do? You know, it's weird. I do a lot of autograph signings and appearances, and a lot of them I link to charities. I love meeting the fans. I mean, they're so energetic and so fun. I could be really tired when I show up to an event, and the minute I get in front of the fans, like, their energy is infectious, and all of a sudden I get fed by that energy, and you know, I did an autograph signing once. It's got to be the longest autograph signing in the history of actors. It was at an army base in Washington, Fort Lewis, and I was supposed to do this 3-hour autograph signing from like 9 to 12 or 10 to 1. And I did it as a free autograph signing, you know, to give back to the troops, because I really wanted to give back to those families, and those guys are the real heroes, and I wanted to be able to give back and show my support. Well, the line was like, you know, they lined up from, you know, midnight. They were camped out at the army base. So I moved the autograph signing earlier, thinking, okay, maybe that'll give us more time. And it didn't, and I didn't want to go home without giving everyone in line an autograph, but they kept the line going. So I actually did a 17.5-hour autograph signing with 3 bathroom breaks the whole day. I didn't even eat. But that goes back to having the energy to do that, was because I was meeting so many phenomenal people and hearing such phenomenal stories that it keeps me going. So you guys feed me, so your energy, so thank you for that. If you weren't an actor, what would you like to be? Wow. You know, I would hope to do something in the film industry. I mean, I like being a filmmaker. I just produced my first 2 projects. I wrote them as well. So I'd hope to do something in the film industry, whether it's writing or directing or producing. But if I couldn't be in the film industry, I did do 1 year of college. I did pre-law because for a second I wanted to be a lawyer. I like the whole aspect of standing in front of the court and having to persuade them and argue points and I don't know. There's something very theatrical about that I liked, and then I realized that most lawyers spend most of their time in offices trying not to go to court. So so I thought, well, I'm going to leave the courtroom drama and just go for the drama. And I went to NYU and I studied theater there. And now here I am talking to you guys. Okay. Are you Team Edward or Team Jacob, and why? I'm Team Edward because because he's my son, and I like to keep it in the family. No, but beyond that, if I had no association with the films, I would definitely be Team Carlisle. No, I'd be Team Edward. I'd still be Team Edward. I think I don't know. There's something interesting about living forever and having that eternity. What is it like working with Rob Pattinson? Oh, I wish he'd bathe once in a while, but I'm kidding. Those are all rumors. I don't know where they start those. He's fantastic. When we first did Twilight, it was funny. Catherine Hardwicke had extensions put in his hair because she thought it might look really cool to have Edward have this like long hair, and so I met Rob. And he just looked weird, like some homeless guy with long. And I was like, "This is Edward," and I was like, "Okay." So we did like 3 days of rehearsals, and Rob hated them. Like he literally hated them. And so he talked to Catherine, and they took him out. And I showed up for rehearsals on the 4th day, and he had his trademark, hair, Edward hair, and I was like, "That's Edward," and. But he's a cool guy. I enjoy working with him. He's very professional. He always comes. He's always thinking. He's very intense. He's always thinking, and he's fun to hang with. What's the coolest thing about Dr. Cullen? Coolest thing. I don't know. Coolest thing about Dr. Cullen is that I think is cool is how much he loves humans and how much he's a humanitarian in that respect, where everything he does kind of revolves around protecting humanity. And so when people ask me, did you do any research on being a vampire, I did very little research on being a vampire because Carlisle's kind of an anti-vampire. So for me, it was more of a study on humanity and why Carlisle wanted to retain his human nature and what human qualities he held on to, and so it was more interesting to study that aspect of him than to look at all of these vampire films and try to steal something from that. Yeah. Did you think the Twilight movies would have become such a phenomenon? No one knew that it was going to be quite the phenomenon it turned out to be. When we were filming Twilight, nobody really knew what Twilight was in where were we? Portland, Oregon. So we were able to go out all the time and just hang out, and nobody asked questions or bothered us in that sense. I remember going to open night mics where Rob Pattinson would, play guitar, and it would be him playing, and 3 or 4 of the cast people showed up, and we were like, "Hey, he's pretty good." But no one knew that, when the movie came out, we'd never be able to do that again. So yeah, no one really realized. We were just trying to make a good movie for the fans of the books. We knew there was this kind of underground fan base, and somewhere between the finishing of the filming and when the movie came out, that fan base just exploded. Okay, what was your favorite scene to shoot in any of the Twilight movies that ended up on the cutting room floor? You know, not much ended up on the cutting room floor, I don't think. There was a scene in Twilight, I think it ended up on the added scenes in the Twilight DVD where Elizabeth Reeser and I actually kiss in the movie, which was funny. That didn't end up making it in the movie. But I think there's one line that I always liked that didn't make it into New Moon. It's when I'm talking to Bella and I say, there's a line from the book that I say, like everything else in life, you just have to decide what to do with what you're given. And I always liked that line in the book, and it wasn't in the script, and I asked Chris Weitz if we could put that line in because it was so meaningful, I thought, and he put it back in the script, and we shot it, and they tightened the scene, so they ended up cutting that out. But there's an extended version of that scene on one of the DVDs for New Moon, so you could still see it, you could still check it out. But I was bummed that that line got cut. Do you get starstruck sometimes? Sometimes. I'm just always in awe, like when I'm around other celebrities and they actually know who I am. Like I'm like, really? 'Cause I was on a plane once and there was Lou Ferrigno, who played the Incredible Hulk, and which one played Bo Duke? What was his name? John Schneider, and Daisy Duke. And I was like, I turned 12. Like my whole childhood was on that plane, and I was so excited to meet them, and I was having them take pictures with me. And then I got off the plane, and the woman who played Daisy Duke said, "Can I get a picture of you and me for my daughter?" And I was like, if someone would have told me when I was 12 that Daisy Duke was going to want a picture with me, I would have thought they were insane. So it's kind of fun in that respect. But you know, I get starstruck in the sense that there are people in the industry that I really admire and I respect their work, and I get excited, to meet them because hopefully, I hope to one day work with them. Yes, if you had to pick one movie in the Twilight saga, not Breaking Dawn, what movie is your favorite and why? I would have to pick, I'd have to pick Eclipse. Eclipse, I don't know, I like that Twilight kind of introduced the vampires and New Moon introduced, the werewolves. And then in Eclipse, we kind of, these mortal enemies kind of team up together. And I like the message in that. And I like there's a lot going on in that book. Between the relationship, the love triangle, the family, and trying to keep things together and trying to figure out what's going on, and then them teaming up with their enemies. And so I just felt like there's a lot of story there, and it was really fun to shoot. And I got to do some action stuff, so... that one's my favorite. What is the most memorable gift given to you by a fan? I had a woman. Well, there's been a bunch. I always feel embarrassed taking gifts from the fans because I feel like they're just them appreciating my work as a gift to me. But let me think. There was the Twilight moms have given me some great gifts. One of them being a pocket watch that was engraved. And then another woman sent me a pool stick that had a laser beam on it. So you could actually I haven't used it, but I just thought it was really cool that this woman went out and knew that much about me that I had a pool table. I was like, wow, she did her homework. I was impressed by that. So whoever that was, if you're here listening, thank you for the pool stick. When will Lucy's be coming out in Germany? Well, I'm still trying to figure out when it comes out in the U.S. We just shot it. I'm really excited about it. We have some really great footage. It's in post-production being put together right now. We have a great cast. Jamie Alexander, who's coming out in Thor. She plays Sif. We have Michael Madsen. We have Vincent Gallo, who's phenomenal, and Joey Pantaleone. And the cast was great. The story's, you know, really fun. And right now, after we put it all together, we're gonna show it to people. And it was all independently financed. So right now, we're gonna get a distributor. So I don't. The short answer is no. I don't know, but hopefully soon. We're gonna hope to go to Sundance with it, so we're gonna cut it together and submit it to Sundance. What's it like working with Edie Falco? Edie Falco, one word comes to mind: phenomenal. She's the only actress now that's won an Emmy in both the drama and comedy division, and you know, she comes to work. She's very simple. Personally, she's a sweetheart and so giving as an actress, and always, she never messes up her lines, which really upsets me sometimes, because I'm like, can you mess up a little bit so I don't look so bad? But she I don't know how she does it. She just comes to work. She's got, you know, kids and a dog, and you know, always comes prepared. And brings everything. Every day is like doing a play when I do Nurse Jackie, because I have such phenomenal actors to work off of. So a lot of times I don't know. I know all the dialogue, but I don't know how the scenes are going to play out. And we all just get in there, and everybody starts doing their thing, and it's like, it feels really good, and it's a lot of fun. So I always hope that the fun we have on set and translates over to what you guys see. How do you prepare for your various roles? Any rituals? Let me think. Do I have any rituals? Ritual sounds like a weird thing, like I don't know, I burn incense or something, sage. No, I think every project's a little different. You know, I like doing a lot of homework. I like doing a lot of research. Sometimes I don't have the time to do it, but I always try to research. Like even for like Twilight, I went and met with the doctor, and I spent the day doing rounds with him. You know, even though I had very little doctor work to do, I wanted to know what it was like to actually be a doctor. And I've done some pretty crazy things. I remember I did a movie about one of my first movies. I played a runaway, and so I went and hung out with a bunch of runaways on Hollywood and Vine, and I was from New York, so I just knew that a bunch of runaways kind of hang out there, street kids, and I went there, and I didn't tell them that I was an actor or anything. I just kind of hung out with them for like 3 days. So it's fun, kind of, I don't know, doing the research and learning about different professions. You know, being an actor is like, you know, it's weird, because when you have a job, when you have a normal job, that's your job, and you do that for life. And when you're an actor, it's kind of like you get the taster's choice of life, because you get to experience kind of what it might be like to be a doctor or a policeman or a fireman or a lawyer, and so in some weird way, I get to have many different lives within one. If you could have written the screenplay or any iconic line from a movie, old or new, which one would it be and why? I'll tell you, my favorite movie is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and if you haven't seen it, it's a great film. You should check it out. It's Robert Redford and Paul Newman, and I saw that movie in 3rd grade. And I thought, those guys look like they're having fun, and that's what I want to do. If you could have any superpower, what would it be? I think I'd fly, or maybe if, I don't know, that's not a superpower, but one of those Star Trek things where you can kind of beam yourself to different places, because I travel so much that going that airplane's gonna get tiring after a while, so it'd be cool to just be like, okay, honey, gotta go. It's weird how I'm sitting in this room and just amusing myself. No one else is laughing. I hope you're laughing with me and not at me. What is your best and worst habit? My best habit? Wow, I don't know. My best habit. That one stumped me. I'd like to say my work ethic. I'm a hard worker. When I work, I enjoy what I do so much that I kind of throw myself into it and fully. And so like when we shot the Twilight stuff, I was like the Wikipedia of like the other actors would be like, what year did you bite me? And I'd be like, such and such year, and it was sunny outside, and, and it was 3 p.m. Because I do a lot of backstory stuff. Like I'll do a lot of books, journals where I'll write a lot of backstory for my character. And then in some weird ways, sometimes it pops back up and it feeds, you know, a scene. Like, you know, in my backstory of Carlisle, you know, I wrote in my journal, you know, when he came to the States, baseball was really popular and he really liked going to baseball games. And maybe, you know, I think he went and met Babe Ruth. And maybe he was there the day Babe Ruth did the infamous, you know, pointing the bat to center field. And so when we actually shot Twilight and it was my turn to bat, you know, that little thing I wrote kind of fed that scene. I thought, hey, it would be kind of fun if Carlisle pointed his bat to center field like Babe Ruth and, you know, did the Babe Ruth homage because I think he was there when Babe Ruth did it. And Catherine's like, yeah, I like that. And so, you know, something that I kind of, you know, created in my imagination came back and actually was a part of the scene in some way. And that happens all the time when I'll write something and then it'll come back to feed a scene in some weird way. Yes. What character that you played over the years, whether it be Mike Dexter from Can't Hardly Wait, Dr. Cooper from Nurse Jackie, or Carlisle from Twilight, etc., do you identify with the most? Wow. I think the character, and it's not done yet, but the character I kind of identify with the most is the one that I just did, Lucy's. And it's the character, his name is Bobby. And it's just because I wrote it, so I know him really well. So I could really identify with what he was going through. And I've had that story I mean, I wrote that script like 6 years ago, so it took me 6 years to get it made. And so I've had that character in my head for so long. As far as the other characters, it's funny when you put like I always said if you put all the characters I played in one room, it would be a really fun party, you know, because it'd be like there's Mike Dexter and Coop and Carlisle kind of hanging out, and you know the guy from Scorpion King with the long beard, and they're all very distinct characters. And there's a part of me in all of them, and you know, I think for actors, what I try to do is, I think that everyone has the ability to have all these kind of personality traits. Some of them are stronger than others, you know, so some person might be really shy, and that's their personality trait, you know, trait that's strongest, and somebody else might be really confident or cocky, and that's their personality trait that's strongest. Well, when I'm acting, it's like I feel like I have all the personality traits to play anybody. It's just a matter of strengthening one trait and diminishing another, or you know, taking these traits and raising them up and bringing them other ones down. So none of the characters I've played, I can honestly say, is well, that's me. That's exactly like me. I can identify with that. But there's parts of me in there, you know. What new things will we get to see from Carlisle and Breaking Dawn? You know, I don't know. I really have to wrap my head around that one because I read it a while back, and I have to reread it. We haven't gotten the scripts yet. we just started getting scripts for Nurse Jackie, so I've been kind of focused on that because I start that in 2 weeks. But I'm going to start rereading Breaking Dawn and wrapping my head around that story. And I'm looking forward to getting the scripts. I know that I talked to Melissa Rosenberg, and she says that they're almost ready to be sent out to the cast, but she's quite happy with them. Yeah. What has been your craziest fan moment? I don't know if I've had a crazy, insane fan moment. I mean, I've had people cry and people, almost faint. I don't know why. I always get uncomfortable because I don't know why they're crying. But I've just really had great encounters with fans. I mean, like I said, I love meeting them. Their energy has been wonderful, and I've had really great encounters. I had one lady, I guess this was the weirdest one. I was in New York shooting Nurse Jackie, and I was on the phone outside my trailer, and she had a dog, and she said, "Hey, she said, can I take a picture with you?" And I said, "Yeah, just hold on 1 second. I'm just gonna, let me hang up the phone with this person." So I turned around to, say goodbye. And when I turned around, she was walking off. And I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did you still want the picture?" Because I felt like I was being rude that I didn't give her a picture. And she said, "No, it's okay. You're busy. It was for my dog anyway." And I was like, I didn't know if the dog was a fan or maybe the dog's a fan of Nurse Jackie. She just puts Nurse Jackie up on the TV and the dog sits on the sofa and she goes out and walks. It keeps me up at night trying to figure that one out. Unless she wanted me to take a picture with her dog. What did you mean, crazy lady in New York? I have no idea. Do you have a secret talent your fans don't know about? Jesus, jeez, Louise, I don't even have a real talent other than acting, and that's questionable sometimes. No, I don't have any secret talent. Oh, wait, do you have a pencil? Let me see. Wait. I don't know if you can do it with a pen. Can you? There, I can bend a pen. See that? If you just shake it really loosely, you can make the pen look like it's rubbery. That's pretty cool. Don't try that at home. What do you enjoy more, acting in films or writing screenplays for films? I enjoy acting in films. They're different. They're completely different. Writing is kind of, it's lonely in the sense that you're sitting by yourself, but in a weird way, it's like playing God because you create this world, and you're like, and then Joe gets hit by a bus, and then you're like, oh no, wait, no, I like Joe. I'm gonna keep Joe around so Joe doesn't get hit by a bus. So it's weird that you create this world and you create these personalities and you let them interact with each other, and you're in complete control as to what they do and how they end up, and that's kind of fun. But it is a little lonely until you actually get on the set and then you actually get to make it. And I remember I wrote a movie called Mulligan that my wife actually starred in recently, and I think it comes out in January for the Hallmark Channel. And I didn't act in that one. I was busy doing press stuff for Twilight and for Eclipse, so I wasn't available to be in my own project, basically. But it was kind of fun actually, just going to the set and being that far removed, where I would go to the set and watch this world being created that I had basically conjured up in my brain, and now all of a sudden hundreds of people are running around creating that world. It was kind of a surreal moment for me, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed saying, look at all the people that are working because of this idea I had, and they're all having fun kind of putting this thing together. And it all started with some weird idea that I had, and I wrote it down on paper. What inspires you? Well, I get inspired by movies, for sure. I get inspired by people, for sure. I get inspired by stories. I get inspired by fans. My family inspires me. Yeah, all those things inspire me. I mean, it's like you ever, when I was younger, when I watched The Karate Kid, and you leave the theater and you'd want to take karate lessons. Sometimes you leave movies and you're just inspired to do something, or I'm inspired to act, or I might be inspired to want to work with somebody, or you hear a story and you say that would make a good movie, and that inspires me to go and write. But just it all comes down to interaction with people. Interaction with people is what fuels me and inspires me. Do you have Bieber fever? I did have Bieber fever, but I took anti-Bieberotics, so I'm doing a lot better now. Were you a 90210 fan when you met your wife, and how did you meet? Well, I had seen 90210. I wasn't a 90210 fanatic, but I had seen the first season, so I knew who my wife was when I met her, and I thought she was beautiful and talented. And it's funny, I actually dated a girl that people used to say, "Hey, you look like Kelly from 90210." So then I ended up with Kelly from 90210. Yeah, so when I met her, I just thought she was beautiful and sweet and talented, and she kind of swept me off my feet, and we've been together ever since. How do you balance life and work? It's not easy. I think that's why a lot of Hollywood marriages don't work, because the people are so busy. You're always kind of in and out of each other's lives, and my wife and I just take it one day at a time. I feel blessed that I have a beautiful, healthy family. They're very important to me. So while I'm filming, I mean, there are times where I've flown home for dinner, just to have dinner with my family, and then I jump back on a plane and go back to work that night or the next morning. But any chance I get to be with my family, I take it. So that's how I try to balance it. Other than Carlisle, what character would you like to play in the Twilight series? I'm pretty happy with Carlisle. If I was, 10, 15 years, or maybe 10 years younger. What's Rob, 24? Yeah, about 10, 11 years younger. I'd love to play Edward, but the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so it's pretty cool playing Carlisle. What do you like doing with your family? We have fun just doing nothing. Like today, we had a picnic outside. My 3-year-old and my wife and I went out and had a picnic on the lawn with the pig, who kept trying to eat everything. Would you let your girls act if they want to? Yeah, I would never say no to that. I mean, I think that I would support anything my kids wanted to do. When I was younger, my parents were so against me being an actor, because saying I wanted to be an actor was like telling them I wanted to go to Mars, and they were both Italian immigrants, so they just didn't think it was a reality or anything. So at the end of the day, they weren't uber excited that I wanted to be an actor, but they also they didn't stand in my way of being an actor too. So I'm very appreciative of that. So as a parent, I would try to support them no matter what they wanted to do. What's your favorite place to go on vacation? My favorite place to go on vacation. I like sandy beaches, anywhere tropical, and warm water. So Caribbean islands are always nice. Hawaii is always fun. I just like lounging on a beach. That's my ultimate kind of vacation. Although I end up spending most of the time building sandcastles on the beach with my kids. Do you have any plans to travel internationally soon to Italy, Sweden, Czechoslovakia? You know, there's some Twilight conventions or something that I'm signed up to possibly do, but they're always subject to work. And every time I want to go to like Australia or abroad recently, I end up being at work somehow. So I'm going to be working pretty much from September through, I start work on Nurse Jackie September 20th. So September through March, I'm going to be pretty much working on Eclipse, not Eclipse, Breaking Dawn and Nurse Jackie. There's about a month where I'm going to be doing both at the same time again. And we did Eclipse, I shot the second season of Nurse Jackie, and there was like a 6-week overlap where one of them shot in Vancouver and the other one shot in New York. And I would do like 3 days in Vancouver and jump on a plane and go and do 3 or 4 days in New York, and then I'd be just flying back and forth. So it was fun. I mean, being able to, switch gears like that, because the Carlisle and Dr. Cooper are so different. So being able to switch gears like that was kind of fun, because I'd be living these 2 different lives at the same time. So it looks like I'm gonna have to do it again. What is the best memory you have from any set you've worked on? Wow. I keep going back to this movie Lucy's that I wrote, because I had such a blast on that movie. Everybody kind of did it for the love of the project, and I remember being, it was a low budget movie, so and I have very deep set eyes, so it's sometimes hard to light, and they have to shine like a light from underneath. And I remember we were shooting on the streets in New York, and we didn't have any lights. So the director wanted to kind of bounce some light into my eyes. Usually you have like a bounce board, like a photography bounce board, where you just take some light and you bounce it into the person's eyes. Well, we didn't have that either. So he got really creative and pulled out some old pizza boxes from this trash can. And he was holding this old pizza box and bouncing light into my eyes, and I thought, that was very memorable. Do you have a bucket list? What are some of the things you hope to do in the future? I don't have a bucket list as of yet. I'm hoping I have some time to create one. If you could pass on one statement of advice, what would it be? Like everything else in life, you just have to decide what to do with what you're given. I'll steal that one from Carlisle. Where do you draw your inspiration from for your writing, creating endeavors? I don't know. I kind of have a little journal, a little book, and sometimes I'll get ideas for things and I'll write it down, and then I'll expand on that. It's kind of like I'll get an idea, and then I'll be thinking about it till I get to a point where I have to write something down, and then it starts happening, and then I start writing. It's almost like, I have to start with an idea, and then that idea has to kind of consume me until it forces me to kind of just vomit the story onto paper. Can you tell us anything about the next season of Nurse Jackie? No. I wish I could, but I don't know. I don't know where that season is going to go. I haven't gotten any scripts yet, so I'm actually excited, because in like 2 weeks I start to get them. Is there a cause you are passionate about, and how are you involved? Well, I'm involved in a bunch of different charities. The Whale Foundation. That was Saving the Whales, yeah. That one I watched The Cove, and And I just thought, my God, well, you know, that seems so archaic that we're butchering these poor animals. And so I got involved with that. And then I'm also very much involved with Alex's Lemonade Foundation, which helps find which is trying to find a cure for cancer in kids. I think that one's a really great one because it allows kids to get involved. As a kid, you're like, hey, what can I do? And Alex's Lemonade Foundation, if you go to Alex's Lemonade Foundation.org, is that the right? Is it Alex's Lemonade Foundation.org? You can actually send away for a lemonade stand, and they'll send it to you, and what you do is you hold a lemonade stand in honor of Alex, who was this 8-year-old girl who died of cancer, and her parents, she used to hold these lemonade stands outside of her house and try to find raise money to find a cure for her cancer, and she passed away, and her family, her mom and her dad, took this idea and kind of went nationwide with it. So you can hold a lemonade stand in honor of Alex, and the proceeds you get, you send to Alex's Lemonade Foundation, and they use the money to try to find a cure. And I like that. I like that kids can get involved. Have you gone to Sturgis on your Harley? If not, where have you gone? You know, it's so funny. I was in Sturgis. I just went to see Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. And we passed by, and it was actually when they were doing the Sturgis motorcycle thing, and I didn't have my motorcycle with me, but I thought, I have to come to this, because everybody was having so much fun. They looked like they were having so much fun. So yeah, maybe next year. I haven't gone on really long rides with my bike. I usually just kind of tool around town. And I haven't ridden it in so long, because I've been all over traveling. That I went to start it the other day, and it was dead, so I have to get the battery fixed before I can ride it again. What music, movie, book are you into right now? Wow. What music? Music, there's a new Eminem song that's pretty dope, as the kids say. I like that song. What about music, books? I haven't read a book for a while because I've been working and focused on that. So if you have any book recommendations, please send them my way. Oh, wait, I have to read Breaking Dawn, so that'll be the next book that I read. I have read it already, don't get me wrong. I just haven't read it in like maybe a year or 6 months. What is your favorite band music genre of all time? I love 70s music. I just think, I don't know, the Doors, the Beatles, there's so many great bands that came out of that kind of genre, kind of changed music and how we listen to it. Yeah, that's my favorite. What do you like to do for fun? I like to make movies for fun. No, I mean, outside the movie world, I like yoga. Yoga kind of keeps me in shape, and you know, my brain is always moving so fast, and I'm always on the move, that yoga is the one time that for an hour and a half I'm forced to be in one spot, and then at that last 5 minutes I get to meditate is kind of earned, so I actually can do that and lay there for 5 minutes. What else? Racquetball, poker every once in a while. Kind of helps me shut my brain down and relax. We know you are from New York, so do you prefer the East Coast or the West Coast, and why? I like them both. I mean, I grew up in New York. I miss New York. I'm fortunate enough to be able to shoot there. We shoot Nurse Jackie 3 months out of the year. I just shot, you know, Lucy's. We shot a portion of that there. So my family, my mom and dad, and my sisters are all back there, so that's pretty cool. I got a lot of friends still in New York. As far as living there, if I didn't have a wife and 3 kids, I'd probably live there. But I like the idea of, you know, if I was going to live in New York, it would be Manhattan, and I don't know. I like the idea of my kids growing up with grass and trees, and Manhattan's kind of a cement island, so I don't know if I'd want to raise them there. What pets do you have? Well, I'm up at my ranch right now, so I have here at the ranch we have about 5 or 6 horses. We have goats, 2 goats. We have 2 rabbits. We have chickens, too many to count. We have a pig named Mia Ham. You saw her before, a little tiny one. We have 2 little dogs, Roxy and Pinky, and we have a lab, a black lab, Max. We have, I know we have more animals in that. Oh, we're about to get to miniature horses because my 3-year-old wants a miniature horse for her birthday, and I think my kids are spoiled. Is what I'm. This whole conversation starting to sound like. Daddy, I want a pony. Okay. Which actor do you enjoy working with the most? Have you enjoyed working with the most? Wow. I've been fortunate enough to work with so many fantastic actors. Let me think. I've worked with Burt Reynolds, for crying out loud. I worked with Burt Reynolds, Edie Falco, Rob, Kristen, the whole gang from Twilight, Kevin Spacey, Danny DeVito, Drew Barrymore. I got to work with Penny Marshall. She directed me in a movie. I mean, there's so many great actors. I got to work with The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, Matthew Broderick, Glenn Close. I mean, the actors I've worked with, I couldn't pick one. I've been really fortunate. I remember working with Matthew Broderick, and I had a scene, and I'm looking, as he's talking to me in the scene, all I could think of is, wow, I'm working with, Ferris Bueller. My God, like if someone told me I'd be working with Ferris Bueller when I was growing up, I'd be like, again, you're insane. And I'm thinking, wow, that's insane. I'm sitting here, he's 5 feet away from me, and I'm actually working with him. And then there was this dead silence, and I'm like, oh, wait, I have a line. So I just remembered that I had to say something. It probably looked like, wow, his character is really deep in thought, and that's what I was thinking about. What is your favorite movie? Well, I answered that one. It's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid was the reason why I got into acting. Thank you, Mr. Paul Newman and Robert Redford, for making that movie. What is the best part of being famous? Wow, I don't really think about that much. I never walk around going, wow, I'm famous. That's so cool. I just kind of do my work, and everything else is kind of a byproduct of that. But that said, there was one moment where I actually felt famous. There was one time I was in an airport, and I got off the airplane, and we were waiting forever for our bags to come off the carousels, and there was this voice that came over the loudspeaker that said, the terminal carousel's broken, it's going to be another hour before we can actually get your bags to you. And I was like, great. So I went to sit down, and I was texting the people that I was going to meet, and some guy ran over and said, Mr. Facinelli, I brought you your bag. And I thought, and he goes, if you need anything, give me a call. And I thought, wow, that's so cool that he actually knew who I was and went out of his way to bring me my bag. Yeah. Do you prefer acting in movies or television shows? Wow. I love film just because there's something about it. I don't know. There's like something about it being kind of an event where you shoot it, and then you're removed from it for a while, and then it all gets put together, and then you actually get to go to this premiere event and see it up on a big screen, and people come out of their homes to see it, and there's something really I don't know, interesting about that I like the whole the whole thing of it. But that said, there's parts of television that I like too. It's very immediate. It's a quicker kind of pacing when you're shooting. You're not waiting around as much. When I'm acting in TV, you're acting more than you're waiting. When you're doing film work, a lot of time you're waiting around because they have to light these scenes. It takes forever. You're waiting around more than you're acting. So there's certain things that from TV I definitely enjoy too. But I think it all stems from the writing. I think wherever the good writing is where I go. Do you have a favorite mantra or quote that you live by? Like everything else in life, you just have to decide what to do with what you're given. Carlisle Cullen. When I was younger, I met a homeless man, and I bought him a slice of pizza. It was interesting because he looked hungry, and instead of giving him money, I said, "Do you want lunch?" And I brought him into the pizzeria, and I sat down and had lunch with him, which, was weird because everyone stares at you, and why are you having lunch with this guy? But I didn't care. I liked that. I liked sitting down and talking with him because, he had a lot to offer. He had a lot to say, and one thing he said to me was, "Nothing is true. Nothing is false. It's all how you look at things through the looking glass of life." and I thought, wow, that's really poignant. And I always remembered that quote, and it's one of the things I live by. And it only cost me $1.99 pizza slice. What pranks have you played on set? On Eclipse, I was so busy shooting Nurse Jackie and Eclipse at the same time. I didn't really have a lot of time. We were doing all these action training stuff. We didn't really have time to play jokes on each other. In New Moon, I remember, I think I told this story before, so forgive me if you've heard it, but I was at the store and there was a card. And on the outside of the card, it said, "You are not what you do." And there was like a bridge with a flowing river on the front. And when you open it up, it said, "Hopefully one day you'll find the job that's right for you." And so I bought that card and I gave it to Rob Pattinson because I thought it'd be funny. And I said, "Rob, I got you a card." And he was like, "Oh, thanks." And then he read it and he was like, "Thank you." I was like, "No, it's a joke." And he was like, I had to explain it to him. And basically giving him that card is like saying, "Hey, you suck as an actor, you need to find something else to do in life." Because it's like, hopefully you'll find the job one day that's right for you. So he then thought it was funny, and I said, "You should give it to Kristen." And he goes, "Yeah, that's funny, I'll give it to Kristen." He gave it to Kristen. And I saw him later. I said, "Did you give it to Kristen?" He goes, "Yeah, she's mad at me now." I was like, "Oh man!" So I had to go to Kristen, and I was like, "No, I gave it to Rob." And Rob, he didn't. It was a joke. And then she said, "No, it would have been funny if you gave it to me, but Rob gave it to me, so now I'm mad at him." I was like, No, it was a joke." So then she laughed, and then we ended up having fun just passing it around the set, just giving it to all the actors. And then we gave it to Chris Weitz, the director, and he loved it so much. He was like, "I'm keeping this," and so he kept the card. What other projects are you currently working on in both your personal and professional life? Well, I have a lot of things I'm working on. There's those 2 projects that I just produced, and one of them, called Mulligan, that my wife did for the Hallmark Channel, and I wrote that one. And then the one that I wrote and produced and acted in called Lucy's, we're in post-production on that. I wrote another movie, kind of in the vein of Scarface, that I want to do, and we're looking to do that next year, right after the 4th and 5th Twilight wrap up. And then my wife and I, we bought 15 acres up in in California, north of Santa Barbara. And what we want to do is build like the ultimate green home. So I thought, well, if we're gonna do that, let's document it. and try to show people how you can actually, you know, do green stuff. Like, I don't know a lot about the green world, so I'm going to be learning as well. And so we just teamed up with Oprah's new network, OWN, and we're going to document, you know, the building of the home. And so for you guys to check out. Hopefully, you know, you can take away some stuff from that. Well, I guess my time is up. I've been getting this wrap it up signal. Thanks so much for joining me today. Thank you, Toms of Maine, for having me as a part of the Wicked Fresh campaign chat series. Jenny and I are big fans. So yes, as she brushes her teeth with Toms of Maine toothpaste. So keep doing the great work that you do to create natural products that are good for people in this wickedly good world that we share. And don't forget, Save the Whales at savethewhales.org or Alex's Lemonade Stand. They do amazing work, and your support would mean a lot to me personally. So look those up when you get a chance. And thank you for hanging with me the last hour. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. Good night.